World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Roers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Good afternoon. This is Tony Roers, your host for Urbanology, the Art of War. I hope all is well. It's almost the end of the year. It's very hard to believe that time is moving so rapidly, and there's so much that's happening. But there are so many things that are going to happen before we go into a new year. Today, I am blessed. I have two Harlem legends that I have the opportunity to talk to. One is a brother, G. Keith Alexander, who is a personality that, for those who are my age, knew their WWRL, WBLS, those radio shows at a certain point in time became the voice, just like Urbanology or Soul City and WACR is the voice of Harlem. At one point, it was the radio stations that really carried a lot of the messages. And there were people like Frankie Crocker and G. Keith Alexander, Von Harper, who really were important factors in the development of many of the things that are going on in the New York City area. The other guest is truly a legend. Many of you have seen him on our show. Voza Rivers it would take 3 shows to talk about Voza Rivers and the things that he was done with the Harlem Arts Alliance, the New Heritage Theater, and many of the things over the years, many of the programs, many of the people who he has influenced not only here but throughout the world. And truly, both of these gentlemen are going to be part when we talk about the second Harlem Renaissance. These names will definitely be mentioned in the historic development of the Harlem, but the Harlems of the world. So please welcome G. Keith Alexander and Voza Rivers.
Wow, incredible. First of all, let me just say this. I finally made it to Urbanology with Tony Roers on the Soul City Network. So give me a moment while I alert the press. Hold on.
Well, coming from you, G. Keith Alexander, that's an honor in itself because I used to run around trying to get autographs from, these guys, man. People, between G. Keith and Frankie Crocker, we would stand out because we were in the same building at one point, 310 Lenox Avenue, and the whole thing is who's coming up, who's going to be on the show today. We couldn't do a lot of work. And of course, Voza, there's not much I can say about Voza Rivers. Matter of fact, one thing I can say, I've known Voza for a long period of time, and I am still learning about Voza Rivers as far as the things that he's accomplished and the things that he's done. Every time we have a conversation, I hear something else that I did not know about Voza. And it's truly a legacy. And one of the things I'm talking to both of you about is we talk about legacy, a program that's taking place and will start. And I know G. Keith, who also will talk about his broadcast role now with Harlem America, is part of that as a judge. And of course, it's the legacy of those Rivers, who, as I said before, I can't say enough of this guy. I've worked with him for a long time, but every time I see him, sometimes I get tongue tied. I said, I'm dealing with this brother that's done so much. So, guys, tell me a little bit about the program. It's something that one of the millions of things that you've done, but how did this start and how did City College get involved?
And for me, this is my 60th year of just being in the entertainment cultural platform that I've inherited. I am dedicated to those who preceded me and laid the foundation for which I am now a part of. When I was a young guy growing up on 152nd Street, little did I know that a few doors down from me was a man by the name of Charlie Rangel, who became a mentor to me. Charlie Rangel and I, although there was a big gap in our ages, but we went to the same elementary school. We went to the same Catholic school, St. Aloysius, same church, St. Aloysius Church, and we also went to the same junior high school, Frederick Douglass Junior High School. But what was unique about that relationship, as Charlie Rangel got a chance to know me and the work that I was doing, whenever we would appear together for an event, we weren't there together, but he would come over to me and he would whisper in my ear the song for our junior high school song that we had to sing before every auditorium meeting that we had in the auditorium. I didn't remember that song. So Rangel used to do that to kind of prep me up and sing a verse of the song to me. And I thought, wow, this is really something that a man like Rangel, with all of his accomplishments, would harken back and connect he and I to the fact that we went to the same junior high school and we lived on the same. So that was something special for me. And then the other person was Percy Sutton. And I'll make this short. I was 19 years old, and I had received a letter that I was going to be drafted into the Army. I had a relationship somewhat with Percy Sutton, and I asked him about thinking about going into the war in Vietnam that I didn't believe in. And Percy reminded me that there were certain occupations that you could go into that municipalities needed, like sanitation workers or police officers, doctors, and lawyers. They could be exempt from going into the war. And I didn't think about that. And he said, but Boza, if you're serious, because in my mind, I was getting ready to wrap my stuff up and go to Canada because I was going to have to go to the Vietnam War. And so that information, Percy said, these are the things that you're going to have to consider, Boza. You'll be 20 and they want you to come into the service. Um, Fortunately, Sutton alerted me about those exempt occupations, and so I rushed off to the examination to be a police officer because I thought that might be a way I could get out of going into the army. Lo, lo and behold, when I did that, I stopped myself and said, "What the hell did I just do?" I mean, am I going to deal with the urban war where I live? Am I going to go into the
Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing,
and I
boy.
took a pause. But at that point, I mean, there is a God. Immediately, I got a call from the New York City Police Department that I would be in the next class. And that class was going to start before I was due to report to the Army for induction. And the rest is history. And that's another part of my life. That in addition to all the things I did in entertainment, it was Percy Sutton giving me some advice that kept me in New York. And although I was a police officer, I did so many other things, Tony and Keith, and you guys know about all of the cultural and artistic things that I've done.
And so many things,
So many.
Sarah Fee. I mean, we can go on and on and on. But the legacy, Keith, you were the judge. What has been your experience of being involved with this program?
Well, first of all, I thought it was an honor to be asked to be a judge for the Voza Rivers Legacy series, and I got a chance to really sit and listen to some of the wonderful writing from screenwriters and playwrights during this particular series. But first, I just want to say though that I want to give props to Voza because not only is he deserving of this legacy, but there are a lot of things that go on in Harlem, a lot of events, and a lot of various places where the who's who of Harlem are seen and welcomed. And no matter who's in the room, when Voza Rivers walks into the room, he commands the air around him, and people, no matter what conversation they're having, they all turn and go, "Hey, Voza's here. Voza's here." So I just want to give you that right now, Voza, that folks really, really respect and find you to be a pillar of our community. Now, you're welcome. The series, the first series, I think was the October 30th, I believe it was. We had 8 playwrights and screenwriters who presented their work. And we, along with Lady Irene Gandy and a couple other people, Jamal Joseph's son, and another woman, I don't remember her name, we all were judges along with Voza. And it was really, really, I felt as though uh, the works that were that were displayed that night were very good, and it was very hard to make a decision. But I looked over at Voza, and Voza didn't have any. Everybody else was kind of doodling and scribbling and making notes. Voza knew exactly what he was going to put on paper based on his experience with the arts. He knew exactly what to look for and to listen for, and I was impressed.
Well, Voza has been doing this for so long and has influenced so many people. I couldn't think of anyone else who, in my lifetime, dealing with the arts in Harlem, except for Roger Furman, who was the shoulders that Voza was standing on. Roger, don't bring no bad vibes, and leave them at the door. The New Heritage Theater, you know. But Voza, what's the focus and what's the final outcome of this series, and what do you want to see?
Well, it's the identification, the cultivation, and the presentation of new voices. Some are new voices, and some are voices that have been around folks. Uh, One of the women who was being considered flew from L.A. 80 something years old to read her script. And lo
Wow.
and behold, she was one of the finalists. And I am so proud of her. I mean, to come and take that kind of a trip to be a part of the competition and then have something that we all are proud of because she was one of the finalists. So it's that kind of exposure, Tony. I know that Roger and Ozzy Davis and Ruby Dee and Harry Belafonte and people that helped about the importance of culture is being replicated and shared with not only our current generation, but generations to come. I did not think about the Legacy series. I was approached by Irene Gandy, who instructed me that I had no choice about and I said, Irene, what are you getting ready to tell me? I have no choice. She said, Boza, we're going to do a legacy series and you can't say anything about it. So if and the but of doing it. I says, well, what does that mean? Shut up, Boza. This is what's going to happen. And lo and behold, he keep I'm there with him as a judge just so I could see it. But these women took that on, and I am so honored, Tony. It's really rewarding and motivating. It warms my heart when I'm up at City College with Keith and the other judges and listening to the talent that we have and the actors that we have that are reading these that making these scripts come alive. With the music that some of them have incorporated. It's a fabulous evening when we do it.
And again, this is going to take place. At least on the third, there is a press conference to announce this event. The winner or the people who come out, if there is that type of situation, is there something that will be offered to them or some type of
Well,
opportunity?
the winner gets $500. That's one thing. But more importantly, they get exposure, and other uh, entities like the Writers Guild, uh, the, uh, the other kinds of organizations are now being advised that we have created this legacy series, and now they're coming out. So on December 15th at Shepherd Hall at City College, we're going to have the winners of the open mic competition presented. And as a result of that, I'm quite sure we're going to see inquiries on how others can join, but more importantly, people can come and meet and be a part of listening to some of the new voices that we're showcasing with these competitions.
Well,
Well,
we got to give credit though also to Amy and
Yeah,
also
Alisa,
yeah, for producing it with Irene,
yes.
and we got to give credit to the performers who actually read the various all eight performances. They did a great job. You know, William Green and Rhea Alexander and some of the other people, they were really great in their performances.
And it was under Michael Green's direction.
Oh, Michael Green. I'm sorry, Michael
Michael
Green. I said
Green
William Green. Yeah.
identified the artist, uh, and um, and he has a big job to do because he's got to read all those scripts himself, and then talk about the which of the actors that will do it because we use the same uh, four actors for each reading.
mm,
Yeah.
And you know, some is a dramatic plays, others it could be a comedy, and others it could be a serious piece. And these actors were really great talent, and we brought alive the scripts that we had to judge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Voza, you and Jamal Joseph have a company. Have there been a thought of recording that or making some sort of documentary of this with some of the people who are the winners, or talking about how new people have been discovered through this legacy program?
Well, yes, we'll do that. However, uh, other filmmakers have been coming to the meetings and they've done their little documenting also.
Hmm.
So we'll look at what already exists, and as we move forward, we'll have our team there capturing some of this history because we don't know who's going to be the next breakthrough artist who participated in the competition
Right.
years from now. So yes, we're documenting every reading that we do. There'll be filmmakers there documenting for us.
Which is another part of history and part of the second Harlem Renaissance. So that, out of that, the new stars, the new Ossie Davis, the new you
Yes.
know the new people who are coming up, and those are it is important. I understand Irene, and Irene was around Lloyd for a long time, so
But what people don't know about Irene is that I met Irene at New Heritage Theater where she was an understudy for one of her girlfriends. And so
wow,
talking about Irene and I going back 60 years.
wow, that
I've
Roger,
known Irene since the '70s.
wow,
yeah. So you know, it's crazy that, but so she's been watching me as like a godmother all of these years because she was an understudy and made a decision that uh, that was enough for her and got into another side of marketing and promotions and doing what she's doing now,
with
having
plays and being
her.
the, the most prominent black person on Broadway in many cases.
She's got two Tonys
No,
Three. She has.
oh,
five.
five Tonys.
No, five Tony Awards.
Wow.
Cheese and crackers. Wow. Okay. And now, aside from just being a press agent on Broadway, she's now a big time producer on Broadway. And in fact, she I saw two of her. I saw her what's it called? The 44 the musical. I
Mhm.
saw
Yes,
that twice.
yes.
It is so funny. And she's producing that, and she's got another one producing with the women. I can't think of the name of it though, where the women all get undressed in the performance. Uh, but she is quite an icon on Broadway, and very proud of Lady Irene Gandy.
And one of the things with Harlem Week and some of the legacies of coming up, Donna Walker Kewen and Irene Gandy coming together to deal with the entertainment with Voza Rivers during, Harlem Week activities. Donna Walker Kewen is another legend, and then Jay Pack.
And Donna's
We've
been
been fortunate over the years.
Donna's been with me over 35 years, Tony. When I discovered Harlem Arts and Life, Donna was there with me.
Wow.
Okay, so last night at the Lincoln Center, Performing Arts Center, I interviewed Donna on her book. We had quite an attendance for her book signing. So all the books too, Tony. This was
Matter of
last.
fact, I have to get to Donna so that we can have her. Winston mentioned that the show last night. I have to catch up with her to do an interview. And for a lot of people who are new, and a lot of people are new because they know that you two are on, this show was due to the pandemic when we could not get into the radio station at City College. Matt offered having my urbanology show using Soul City, and we developed two different markets. So we just kept doing both. So as we speak now, there's another radio show going on where I was interviewing Bobby Hunter, and some of the projects that he's doing. He's getting honored. Uh,
Yes,
the 100th anniversary of the Globetrotters. So he's being honored at Madison Square Garden and doing some other things there too. Another part of that family. It's been an interesting journey we've been on, and I don't remember G. Keith when you were. At 310 Lenox Avenue. I heard you, I knew you as a personality, but But I guess I was too focused on Frankie Crocker. I was
Yeah,
amazed with Frankie
everybody.
Crocker. I mean, he was Spendelli.
Everybody was focused on him, and I was the first person he hired when he took over WBLS, and he made me. I remember the day he told me, he says, "You're going to be uh, my librarian. You're going to be ready when I walk through the door. You're going to have my records in your hand and my copybook, and I just want to take them out of your hand and put them on the desk." And he said, "And when I take off on the weekends, you can sit in for me on the weekends." Now, I didn't know nothing about professional radio, but he let me sit in. And then it got to the point where whenever he'd take off during the weekdays, I'd sit in for him during the weekdays, and he'd still have that audio cart that said, "When Frankie Crocker isn't on your radio really isn't on." And I'd be sitting there, and I'm like, "Well, wait a minute,
when you
but
talk
that was
about
Frankie.
Frankie Crocker,
That was Frankie.
I also had the honor of producing his memorial at Riverside Church.
I remember that. Yeah.
Um, and I learned a lot about him. I learned about his looking at religion that a lot of people didn't know about. It was a very interesting journey to be in his company, and I appreciated all of the time that I spent with him and at the station. He was great, great person.
Great, great. So at this moment, I'd like to have a moment to do a little self promotion, please, if I may do a plug before we leave. I just want to remind everybody that that if you go to harlemamerica.com, you can read about Harlem's creative spirit shines at the Voza Rivers Legacy Series open mic competition. We did an article that's in my blog, and you can read all about the competition that we just had recently with Voza Rivers. Uh, and I just wanted to give you that little plug.
Well, that's plug. That was the reason why we were having the show to make let you guys talk about the series. Matter of fact, as far as the public, is there any type of streaming or any? How would people, if they want to take advantage of some of these readings, is that still opportunity for people to see those, or how is that going to work?
Yes, yeah, it's open. The readings are open to the public. But what happens is now the students at City College know what's going on, and they're inviting other students to
Hmm.
write, invite people. It's an open reading. No reservations necessary, but uh, so far we've been able to fill up the rooms. But it's open, and there is a RSVP number that they can call to let us know that they're interested in coming. But so far, we haven't had an overflow where we couldn't accommodate the people that have been coming out.
Do you have access to that number that you can share?
Yeah, they can call my office, which is 212-926-0104, and the person is PJ, which is for Temple Gene. But they can call that number, 212-926-0104. That's the new Heritage number.
And G. Keith, getting back, I was going to ask you to talk a little bit about how you developed the Harlem America and what your thoughts and vision and what you are looking to do, and if people want to be involved, how can they do that?
Well, thank you very much, there, Tony. Harlem America came about right before the pandemic. I wanted to have I wanted to give young people an opportunity to be able to be a part of a network that was collecting and cultivating and capturing the culture in Harlem so that we could showcase it to the world. And at the same time, I wanted to support businesses, entrepreneurs, CEOs, thought leaders, and people like that by giving them a platform by which they could have their radio or TV show on Harlem America. We have podcasts, we have TV shows, we have articles, and Harlem America covers a lot of the major events happening in Harlem. And we our vision is to be able to reach the tourists and people who are coming to New York, give them a reason to come up to Harlem to see what we're all about here in Harlem. And that's basically what Harlem America, the mission is for us. And being that, I've been in entertainment for so long, a lot of the people and celebrities are responsive to me. So I'm able to leverage my career and things I've done to be able to bring people into and onto Harlem America.
And well, both of you, have talked, and many of the people that I used to see in the movies and hear, you guys had relationships with, and I'm always amazed. Sometimes I see G. Keith interviewing this person and that person. I said, "Damn, I didn't know you knew him." And of course, Voza. Everybody knows Voza Rivers, as you say. When Voza walks into the room, is because many of the people in the arts, in some form or fashion, has come into the magic of Voza Rivers. I don't know how Voza. I don't know how you handle. I mean, of course, you have some great people like Amy and Temple Jean, but I mean, it seems like every other week you got another production about something coming. Something coming. I'm saying And you keep saying, yeah, I'm going to slow down, but I'm saying, damn, your slow down is exhaustion for most people.
I want to thank G. Keith because it's a pleasure for me just to sit next to him and to see, him trying to ponder about what kind of mark he's going to give to the writers. But more importantly, when all of this was over and I saw the release that he put out around the Legacy series, it was done so well. It has
Thank you.
been all over the country. People received it and said, "Oh my God, Voza, look at this! Look what you're doing!" We reached new territories thanks to Keith, and so I want to publicly say, Keith, thank you, and I really appreciate where you are doing and the time that you're putting in with us.
You're quite welcome, Voza. You as well as Lloyd have supported me for years, and you've helped me establish Harlem America. So, I owe you guys a debt of gratitude.
Well, it's just interesting to me to have been blessed to be a part of this journey since 1974. Harlem Week is going into its 52nd year, and to have been able to see so much stuff, so many things, so many people. I I'm just blessed to have been in the presence of you guys. And one of the things I have to confess, I think I mentioned to you before, G. Keith, there was a time where you had some very beautiful women on your arm all of the time. And I gotta admit, I was envious, that might even been a little player here. I said, damn. You know how you go. You at the club and you see my man come out of his car, and he had all dressed up and walking in, and everybody, standing on line, and he just walks right on.
Well, I got to tell you, I learned that from Frankie. I learned that from Frankie. Frankie, when I first met him, he'd have a woman on each arm, and he has hair flowing in the wild Bill Hickok type of way, and he was always dressed sharp. And I said, wow. And I remember when his show was over, and they go, there I go, there I go, there I go.
Yeah.
Well, that record was played. Okay, his show was over at 8 o'clock. They put that record on about maybe 7:50. By the time that record was over, Frankie and I were downstairs in his Rolls Royce on our way down to the discotheques. Now that record was about 8 minutes long. So
Moody's Mood for Love.
Moody's Mood for Love. And so I learned from Frankie, when I'm riding in Frankie's Rolls, he would give me all sort of Frankie-isms. G. Keith, now remember, when you buy a car, don't buy an American car, get a foreign car. I said, why, Frankie? He said, because women like them. So every car I've ever had, I've had about 7 cars. They've all been foreign cars because of Frankie. And then Frankie and I, because of his Rolls Royce, the first thing I could afford was a Volkswagen, which I painted black over silver, and I had a Rolls Royce grill put on the front, and a Continental kit put on the back, so that I could be like Frankie. Okay. Then Frankie used to wear his fox coat when he drive his car in the winter. I didn't have a fox coat, but I met this woman who gave me $100 and told me, go buy yourself a fur coat. I said, well, a fur coat, $100. She said, yeah, go to Alexander's and get yourself a rabbit coat. I went and got a rabbit coat, and I didn't know anything about rabbit. I'm wearing it in Frankie's Rolls Royce, and about a month later, it started shedding hair and started falling out. So, Frankie, he was really a mentor to me. And later on, I was able to afford my own Bentley, so I went out and got a Bentley because of Frankie. But Frankie, he sort of taught me the ropes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Story.
interesting stories, and I'm sure that there are many interesting stories that we can't talk about. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, uh, and Voza, one of the things also that I've really been impressed with so many things is your work in South Africa and the things that you were able to do when we talk about Serafina and the Lion King and what you were able to do in South Africa. I know they tell me I haven't been on one of the tours where they say when Voza goes to South Africa, the traffic stops. People, and I understand you got a wall now. you know.
Well, yeah, I have a village in Zimbabwe for orphan kids that's in my name. I've been uh, marrying my impact program to young people in Zimbabwe, in Japan, and Cuba, and we're doing recorded music. And so uh, next month we're going to be embarking on this project. But I am so blessed that Africa is a part of my legacy at this time. It could not happen at a better time for me.
Well, Pan Africanism is still alive. I'm just writing an article about Al Kibula, uh, which Bobby Hunter keeps reminding me of, and he says you got to really understand how to do that and say it because that's the original name of Africa. We got to start owning that. But um, there's a lot of movement as far as the awakening of the sleeping giant, and there's a lot of connection throughout the world as far as the African diaspora, which is a sleeping giant. I guess through the internet, through many different ways, there are many different people saying the same thing who are African, as Kwame Nkrumah said. I'm not African because I was born in Africa. I'm African because Africa was born in me. And that spirit is beginning to take on a lot, especially in some of the work we're doing in Ghana, where uh, Kwame Nkrumah became the first president of the independent country and learned a lot of it in Harlem. He studied and worked in Harlem and was really close to Du Bois. And there's a tremendous exhibit in the Schomburg about when Kwame Nkrumah was here and how he was influenced by Pan Africanism and took that back and began to talk about the uh, United States of Africa, which is one of the topics in the festival that we're doing in December to start talking more about that. But those of you brought so many of the young actors, here. And one of the other things, Rosa, which I really appreciate, the work that you've done with Jamal Joseph, my brother, and that creativity. I mean, God has a plan, as they say, and for you guys to come together and do the things that you've done with Impact and the films that you have put together is another legacy, and that goes back for many years because Jamal is a talented brother.
And again, Tony, uh, we don't know what road we're going to take all the time. But as I reflect back, I met Jamal when he came out of prison, and I
Hmm.
was protected. And Jamal, while in prison, was writing scripts and and getting other prisoners to be a part of the theater company so they wouldn't take advantage of it.
Hmm.
You know,
He was a baby. I mean, he
he,
was young.
he was. And so he comes out of prison, but he's also, while in prison, made a determination and got all of his degrees through his master's degree.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, Jamal was part of the Panther 21. Matter of fact, I was able to help Jamal get his first job at Toro. you know,
now he comes out of prison already in a theater program, and he comes out of prison and nobody wants to work with him
right?
because he said when they read his work, he had 30, 40 people in a play. And they told him, man, nobody can do anything like that. And he met, but while he was in prison, he read about a guy named Charles Dutton.
Hmm.
Man.
Charles Dutton went to prison, got his degrees, came out of prison, and went to Yale University and studied theater, and then had his own show called Rock.
Rock.
It used to
Mhm.
be on TV. So what Jamal decided is, I want to find who Rock is and tell him what I've done. He went looking for Rock, meets Rock after Rock did a performance at a show downtown, and he says, I just got out of prison. I want to connect with someone who can do some of my plays. And Rock said, I don't know why you can't get work. You're a writer, you write, you got a degree. And it was Rock who told Jamal, I just saw a play on Broadway. There were 35 actors, and the guy who's part of it lives in Harlem. And if you're living in Harlem, you should meet this guy, which was me. I didn't know Jamal from Adam. I never knew Charles Dutton, but on opening night of Sarafina on Broadway, I took a picture with Charles Dutton and the writer of the South African plays. And that was the connection. But we didn't exchange anything or anything. But he told Jamal that there was this guy from Harlem. He doesn't know his name or anything. Next thing I know, I get a call from Charles Dutton. He found out how to reach me and met Jamal, and the rest is history. Once I met Jamal and I heard his story, I knew that we had a lot in common, and my life changed. And now Jamal's been with me almost 40 years, and we've been doing films and working with young people. We've all, and our impact program, more than 1,000 young people have gone through the program. Now they're doctors and lawyers and principals. And so we are so, so proud. And lastly, I need to say thank you to City College. City College, I made a major announcement several months ago, and my youth program, which you know is now housed at City College in perpetuity.
Great.
Which is great. And
Thank
actually, we
you.
started because when I was there, we used to have impact gym
Yes,
performances at the college. So it's full circle.
yes,
All of this stuff. Jamal and I was in the Panther Party. He was
yes.
trying to get a job. Gave him the interview with Toro when they were coming into place, and he
Yeah,
went from there to
yeah.
become the chair of film and video school at Columbia University. So, um, we've all touched each other in so many wonderful ways, and I'm happy to be a part of uh, this Soul City component, and because it gives us a chance to record some of this history, so that what you're doing, Keith, and what you're doing, Voza, as far as the films and all of the things that are taking place. So um, hopefully, if our world continues the way things are going, those young people will have some recorded history and won't have to, because when you go, people step in and claim all of the things that you did and say that they did it and just change the names around. But at least we have the ability now to uh, create our own narratives and develop a way to allow for people to understand how that really happened rather than somebody his story is our story. So that's important. And again, uh, give us information, Keith or Voza, about how people can find out more about the legacy program, and if they want to get involved, what they should do.
Well, okay, I just have the sheet in front of me. So, uh, but people can actually go to the New Heritage Theater .org website, and they could call for additional information at 212-926-0104. And they could actually speak to someone in reference to the Legacy series.
And they can go to harlemamerica.com and read the Most Soulful Place on Earth blog by G. Keith Alexander, and it'll tell you about the series as well.
And Keith, the best way to get you is through. Is there an email or the blog, or how can people reach you?
G. Period Keith Alexander. That's Keith Alexander at harlemamerica.com.
Mm-hmm.
And donations are welcomed.
Well, again, I can't tell you guys how uh, good I feel by having the ability to have both of you and talk with you and share some time with you. I know your schedules are extremely busy, but when I heard that there was going to be a legacy program for my brother Rosa Rivers, and then I heard that Keith Alexander was one of the judges. I said, "Well, that's news." That gives me an excuse to get them both on. And we could do 3 or 4 more, a series of shows talking about the exploits of both of you guys, and what you have been able to do as relates to influencing the lives of so many people for so many years. And I like to thank both of you for taking the time to talk to some of our viewers and letting them know who you are. And before we close, are there any parting thoughts that I'll go with you first, Keith, and then I'll ask Rosa.
Well, you can find out more about Voza Rivers as he tells his own life story on harlemamerica.com. You can check him out, and you'll be really amazed to find out all of his achievements, at least some of them anyway. But that's on harlemamerica.com.
And if I'm lucky, one day I might be able to be invited to be on Harlem America.
You're getting closer. You're getting closer.
And Voza, any last words you would like to?
Yes, again, they can go to newheritagetheater.org. Theater is spelled Theatre, not ER, but Theatre, and I'll give my number again because I have people in the office who can also be helpful, and that's 212-926-0104. I want to thank you, Tony, again for this opportunity to just be with friends. So thank you.
Well, again, it's just my pleasure, and I have to commend the Soul City crew to provide a platform to be able to have historic interviews like this with individuals who have been so influential in so many ways and have changed the lives of so many people. So, again, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Soul City, thank you. And I guess that's about it. I mean, time goes very quickly, but but Keith was wondering that we have enough to say. I think we could go on for another 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, I thought I only had like maybe 15 minutes worth of stuff to say, but you pulled stuff out of me that I didn't know I was going to talk about.
It's really good.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Nice
Well,
this afternoon.
Well, thank you both, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the 3rd at City College. There's a
Yes.
whole story with WACR. I had a lot to do with creating that new station. So when I was there, served 5 presidents at Voza, as you know. So,
Yes, that's right. Yes, Tony.
so
Yes.
it's so good to see it come full circle and things happening at the city university, and we're creating talking about plugs. We're creating a cultural education and business exchange program between Harlem and Northern Ghana, and City College is taking the lead in creating education, faculty, student exchange program to bring resources there, and also allowing for some of the students for the University of Development Studies to have an understanding of what's happening here in Harlem. So again, Pan-Africanism at its best is still working. So thank
Aren't
you.
you an honorary chief over in Ghana?
Yes, I have. Yes, I do. Matter of fact, I will be visiting where I will be able to do development. I have to talk to Voza. Maybe we can develop a studio or something there. It's I've had calls now. People who know that I have this land was talking about developing smart cities through Bobby Hunter. Bobby Hunter. Bobby is all over the world, so he has a group that are doing smart cities all over. So we're talking to them about doing some things.
Appreciate Tony because I have a few acres that were given to me in Zimbabwe.
Oh, nice.
Great.
And
So
we have to look at that as
yeah,
we might need sanctuaries.
yes, yes. Great places to go, right? Yes.
Make sure you guys leave the address for your land in case I need to get out of here.
Well, I told everybody you better start getting some phone numbers and some contacts. You never know. They're kicking a lot of people out of the U.S. And those Africans who were born in America need to have some place to go back to. So it's very important. This is a time. Pan African is no joke. We're not going to do a Marcus Garvey, but we got to make sure that we're ready if we have to do that. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll be back, and maybe if I'm lucky, I might find a way to get you back on the show for some other major project that you're dealing with, because this was fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks for Temple Jean and Amy and everybody who really put a lot of this together and allowed for this to take place. I appreciate it.
And shout out to Matt.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Matt.
And yes, Matt McCoy and Jasmine and all of the people who are with Soul City. It's always been a pleasure. Many years that we've had this platform, and I am just, as I say, blessed. I every day I wake up, I'm thankful to have been able to be in a position to know people like the G. Keith Alexander and Voza Rivers and Lord Williams and all. It's been a blessing being in the right place at the right time. And now I can talk about it and prove it. In years to come, my grandchildren say, "Yeah, he knew them. He was on TV." Take care, guys. I appreciate
All right.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that pretty much wraps up today. And wow, that was a great experience talking to those two giants. And hopefully, you will get a chance to experience this legacy program that's taking place at the City College of New York. And once more, thank you, Yana, Jasmine, Matt, Soul City for providing the opportunity to talk. And I'll see you next week, God willing. Take care.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Urbanology.